Hello everyone, this is Gaurang from HoduSoft. Uh, we are presenting this webinar focusing on the industry as an insurance. And the objective of this webinar is basically to highlight the transformation of the customer engagement and how that can increase the customer loyalty. Now, customer loyalty is one of the major aspects specifically to the industry as a domain. So we would like to highlight some of the key aspects around this, and we like to share the more industry-based knowledge which we obtained from some of our customers. So before we begin to the webinar, I would like to present about the HoduSoft. We as a HoduSoft started almost 6 years back, and throughout the journey with the entire teamwork which we have done with our team, the fantastic team of engineers which who have curated and crafted our product, we successfully have a customers in 250 plus customers in 40 countries and 75 plus partners globally who's helping us to resell our product to the market. So this is the journey which we have crossed in 6 years, and we are one of the youngest company even recognized by the Gartner for our products. So that's basically the part of the journey of the HoduSoft. The key points which we are going to cover up in today's webinar is basically will focus on why the contact center is very important as an element for an insurance company or the insurance back office operations. All right. We'll also focus on the omni-channel aspects, because now since in last couple of years everything has moved from voice to the non-voice process. So we would like to focus more on that omni-channel contact centers, how that can benefit to the insurance players in terms of rendering their services to the customer, and even to engage their customers, and even to improve the customer loyalty. So we'll cover up that aspects, and we will then cover up a brief glance to the HoduCC, which is the omni-channel contact center software which we have, and we'll give a small product overview, and we'll try to emphasize on how HoduCC is basically help in curation of this transformation process. All right, so we'll talk about that, and then we will conclude the webinar session where we will open up a session for question and answer. And I'll request everyone to write down their questions into the chat dialog box, where our team members will answer to your questions with the proper answers in sequence. And I would like to hand over today's sessions now to my colleague Nirav, who is our manager pre-sales, and he will present the entire webinar, and he will be available for question and answer session as well. So thank you everyone for joining this webinar, and I really wish that you'll take away some good learning and knowledge out of this webinar session today, which will encourage us to do more webinars in the coming days. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Gaurang. Hello, everyone. I welcome you for this webinar that we are conducting. So let's talk about why an insurance company requires a contact center software, right? So let's take up some key points, like as we are we are hit with the global pandemic. So in that, the healthcare industry was a complete havoc. So due to that, we have increased number of the claims, and the different processes are required. And it also requires to have a remote access rather than going to a physical offices. Now everything needs to be remote, everything needs to be online, and much more faster to handle the workload that every insurance company or every insurance domain people are handling right now, right? So let's take some statistics. So why this will be requiring. So if we take about the statistics, like 47.7%, like whenever they are engaging with the SMS part, so they are likely to end up that particular conversation into their sales. Where if we talk about the behavior, so 98% of Americans, they tend to switch between the different devices in a single day, right? So, and then if we talk about the customer interaction, so 61% feels like they are not able to easily switch from one device to another device to have a particular interaction with the customer services. Now, if we look at the Zendesk approach, so 35% of the customers, they expect that whatever the conversation happened with them, with the previous colleague or with the previous agent, that needs to be same for every time they do the interaction with them. Okay, let's look some other statistics. Like 86% of the customers, like they are now highly research driven. So they have done their proper research and then they are coming and they have more knowledge about what kind of a choices they have to do. So the customers are smart now. What they are looking for, it's a completely a different scenario than before the pandemic that we have. At 88% of the customers, they accept that the companies needs to accelerate their digital presence, right? So they can contact the particular companies during this continuation period. And 52% of the call centers, like they monitor their online reviews and social media platforms so that they can know how the customer satisfaction can be achieved. So they are having a close eye where there is a gap, where there is a dissatisfaction from the client, so where they can jump in and they can help resolve the queries of the customers. Where like 90% of the businesses, they install like live chat software, and that will be much more helpful to improve the customer support, and they tends to reduce the agent workload at the same time and streamlining the call center contact center operations. So if we talk about more, so 78% of the customers, they agrees, like if they choose a particular company, but they somehow failed at the first time to deliver the proper satisfaction they require, but they still give a chance to that company if they are digitally present over there. If we talk about the Target, so which is a well-known US-based retailer, so like they having the base quarter in 2020 because of their omni-channel presence over the physical channels. So they have the sales increase of 24.3%. And if we talk more, like 28% of the businesses are using the ticketing system so that they can track the customer journeys and they can have the better workflow available for their system and for the customer efficiencies as well. If you say like 32% of the businesses, they are deploying a CRM system so that it helps to boost the sales and enhance the relationship where their customers are there. Okay. The 78% of the customer experience professionals, they believe that technology and systems are important to successful execution of their strategies. That's how they can embed and they can enhance their future goals. They can satisfy the current needs. 89% of the customers, like they do the retention due to their omni-channel presence of the company. Otherwise, they tend to leave the company if they don't have the omni-channel presence where the customers can choose to have a different approach to reach to the particular companies for the insurance claims or the different kind of methods that they require. Right, and 77% of the customer experience professionals, they say like by 2025, AIs will be more in picture. So it will replace and it will reduce the human agent interactions in that terms. 71% of the CX professionals, they respond to the surveys, right? So that will be helpful to the successful execution of their strategies. Right? And if you say the futures of the statistics, so like based on the particular reports, like global cloud market growth will be like 390.33 billion by 2028. And if we look about another report from Internal IT, so companies wants to implement chatbots. So those companies are up to 47%, and up to 40% of the companies, they want to implement the virtual assistants to reduce the traffic or reduce the workload of their current human agents. And by the 2025, there will be 4.41 billion users. They're going to use the social media platforms along with that. And some of the statistics, like there is a repairable auto claims in the US. So 5 quantities were keys to drive the customer satisfaction. So what are these 5 pointers? So the first point will be the speed of the claim settlement, how quickly you can settle the claim for their customers so they will be satisfied. The second point will be as of communication with the insurer. So how easily they can talk to you. Like if they want to talk to you over the call, they want to talk to you over email, chat, SMS. So you need to have the ease of communications with your client. Then employee knowledge and the professionalism they provide. So during the call or while they are doing the talk, so that is a must and one of the key driven customer satisfaction point. and the employees courtesy. So as the US tends to have the courtesy, so that is one of the key point as well. And as much you are transparent and as of the processes that you provide to your clients, they are much more satisfied with your services. So we need to keep in mind about these different pointers while we are serving to our clients in the insurance domain. And there are some of those studies that is done by McKinsey in the company. So multi-access customers like typically interact with the insurer during the multiple access points they have. Like there is a physical agent, there are remote call or service call centers, or there are digital channels. So you can have the people tends to do the interactions like for the information, for getting some advice from the agent or from having some kind of a purchase or from the local agent, from the remote agent or via digital channels they want to prefer, or they want to claim something or they want to enable disable the certain kind of services. So in that particular segment, so all these different interlocks will be there, and customers will come to you with the different mindsets of for that. And another study, so that shows like which particular segments or which particular insurance segments will provide the products online. So as per the top 10 insurance groups, so like the auto sector tends to provide 100% of their products because of they are offering the simple product base. But while we see like coming to the complex production, so like a term life insurance or the traditional life, the disability or the private life and health insurance, so all these are different ones. So they are tends to provide the smaller offering compared to the different auto insurance or the legal expenses insurance market. So they can also improve their presence online and the offerings for the online. Like if you talk about the 1 minute statistics, so in 1 minute there will be 4 million people in Facebook, there will be 1.5 million people using Instagram, and in 1 minute there will be 350 million people who are tweeting. So it's all about the presence. So wherever you want to capture your customer base, you can see the statistics, how the customers are divided, how much time they are spending, whatever the presence they are having. So that will helpful to build up your strategies, and that will double the revenue. So like if you're having the omni-channel presence, so 57% like they improve in customer experience, 37 will percent will expand their agent efficiency improvements. And then if we talk about the key challenges that is faced by the insurance companies today, so like one of the major is like they are not able to handle the high volume of the customer inquiries and the requests. Okay, so and bringing and retaining the customers is one of the key challenges. The greater customer expectations, the customers are now very well educated, they are very well tech savvy. So in that terms, they have the larger expectations from the organizations they are be part of. The improving distribution and the sales enhancement, the efficient customer services and the quick response is always a key factor for the customer satisfaction. Like see like different statistics for like how the poor customer services will lose out your customer base. So 1/3 of the consumers says like they would consider switching the companies after they just have one bad experience with your customer care executive. And as the man comes into the picture, so men tell most of the people as much as 21 people when they had a poor customer experience with your customer care executive, and 72% of the consumers see having their explanation problem to the the same problem to the different people, to the different agents. So that is wasting their time and they don't like that wasting of time. 39% of the customers will avoid a company for 2 years once they have a bad experience with your company. So these are all proven statistics by different research organizations. If you talk about like how the customers wants to communicate, so 31% of the customers say that they want to reach out to the company via Twitter. 33% say they want to contact using the Facebook or similar social media channels. The 66% of the consumers, they said like they use at least 3 different communication channels while contacting to the customer care. And 43% of the millennials, like they wants to use their mobile devices to contact the consumer of the services. Now, if you say like 40% of the customers, they prefer talking to a real person, like while there is some serious issues or complicated interactions are required, such as like payment dispute or certain kind of policy disputes are there. So they can wants to have a call with the direct executive they are referring to. And the response time is much more crucial role. So like 64% of the consumer, they expect the real-time responses, interactions from the company they are dealing with. 72% of the customers, they expect a response for their on a social media within an hour time. And 90% of the consumers, they had poor experience seeking the customer support over the mobile. And some of the annoying factors that the consumers don't like. So one of the key points that they can say, like they cannot get an agent on a phone, or they have to wait in line for longer period. And two-thirds of them says like they can change the brand if they feel like they are just treating as one of the numbers of their big company or big organization. So now let's talk about how omnichannel will benefit the insurance sector. So like there are different channels available in the market. So there was an era there a single communication channel was there. Then we added up the multi-channel. So the customer goes and they have the different options to interact, but the channels are not linked up with any other. So they don't have the complete journey of the customer. Then there was a cross channel, but it was has a limited access of the user information. So now we have omni-channel where the customer is in center and every information about it revolves around it. So whether it's coming to the different channels, everything, every information will be available as per the requirement. And let's see like how the customer journey will be transformed if they opt for the omni-channel. So like from lack of transparency in process, such as like claim approvals, they tends to have some misguiding information, or there are some issues regarding that. So with the help of this, like the real-time updates, tracking, and end-to-end process will be available on their mobile or their via SMS or email, whatever the strategies the companies want to implement. Then there will be a limited support in submitting the claims and supporting documents, where you have to go to the offices, you have to go to the particular insurance agent, and you have to provide the required document. And instead of that, you can save your time by integrating with the digital solutions. You can upload the documents, you can send it directly over the email, and that will reach out to your insurance company. And for the settlement, like before, it was taking more than 4 weeks time, and now with the help of all the documents and the details available within the reach of the agents and the company, so there is a simple claim settlement, so it can be done within hours or days, and there is a automated assessments as well. So that can be done and implemented based on the requirement. And before that, there was no reporting available because everything was in physical document. So now, based on the internet, based on the CRM system, you have a real-time reporting and the dashboards that you can go through. Now, if you say like the statistics regarding the journey, so like how the customer has connected to you with respect to the journey, so that will lead to the different benefits over the time. So like there are three different segments available: high performers, moderate performers, and the underperformers with respect to the marketing. So customer loyalty, you can define like if you say about high performance, so 91% is achieved. If we talk about moderate performers, so 71% is achieved. And where the underperformers who don't have the much of the customer journey in hand, so they only perform and they can only have the customer loyalty up to 43%. So we can see though there is a vast difference between high performance and the underperformer. Same way for the revenue growth, the customer engagement, customer willingness to recommend for you for their future products and the services. You can also have CSAT scores as well, and customer churn rates. So you can have this 2.6 times more likely to have with the help of the high performer. Now, if we talk about the other statistics, like even though the most of the bits of information are available using the digital channels, so 84% of the customers, they use digital channels during their journey. But however, like there are 55% of the customers, they cannot buy imagining their insurance online. Reasons for buying insurance offline, so there are multiple factors play in line. So like they like individual on-site services, they go to the store and they opt in for the different services. They trust their local agents and the broker, and then they don't like buying online in certain cases. So that is 17% of the people. And some of the 15% of the people, they feel like the online information is not adequate. The products were too complex to understand online, and was not possible in certain cases. So there are 4% of the people believing that. So even though there are the offline modes, but still we can try to have as many as possible for the online opting out, opting in for the particular processes. And 60% of the consumers, like in today's era, they do the enabling of the self-service assessment. So like 60% consumers, they prefer automated self-service where you can provide an IVR, or you can provide a requirement prompts, and then they can listen up and they get the most of the information required. And if that is not satisfied, they can reach out to the customer care executive on the next part. So 77% of the consumers, they report having used the self-service portal already. So that is the statistics from the Microsoft. Again, the response time. So the expectancy of different age groups. So like 25% of all age groups. So they require email response within 1 hour. 50% of the all age group, they require the response within 24 hours timeline. And 21.7% the age group between 35 to 44. So they require immediate email response from your customer care executives to have their surveys or their customer satisfaction achievement. So if you talk about when you use a single channel versus multiple channels, so customer retention, you can have a vast difference. So customer retention rate for the single channel is 34.8, and the customers who are having multiple channels, that is the customer retention is 66.12%. Now, as we have seen the all about how the omni-channel will be there, how now let's talk about the software that we have, that is the Hoodoo CC contact center call center software. So with the help of what we have seen, you can have the calling facility, you can have the omni-channel facilities. So let's look at the interface and the details regarding the product. So let's talk about the Hoducc strength. So there is like 1,000 concurrent calls that you can achieve, 250 plus agents that you can achieve. Of course, if you want to have more agents and more concurrent calls, you can have the distributed architecture as well. So that will support more number of calls and more number of agents as well. So it's a highly secure, like we have IP tables, fail to ban mechanisms, so that will prevent the most of the attacks. It is easily deployable, so you can deploy over the cloud, over the on-premise solution as per the requirement. And it has attractive UI UX, and we are having APIs available. So product is pretty much customizable as per the requirement and the future needs of your customers. Now, if we talk about the Omni-channel, so it has different components. So that is like email, SMS, social media. So within social media as well, you have different channels: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, Telegram. So all these channels are available in a single instance. You have a one-to-one video call, so that will be helpful in terms of the video KYC that you can do with your customers. You can have a audio call of video. The chat facility is there, so you can have internal chats, you can have external chats, so your customers can ping you, and that will be connected directly to the Hoducc agents. Now, in terms of reaching out to your leads, to convert the leads into the particular customers of yours, so you have different dialers available based on the requirement. So you have auto dialer, you have predictive dialer, you have progressive promotional dialers. So promotions you can use to promote your products. You can run different campaigns. You can take the customer feedbacks as well. You can have the preview dialer in terms of you just want to dial up the couple of numbers from your list. So you can use the manual dialer in that particular instance. We also introduced the work from home feature due to this pandemic. So you have your remote agents, you have the inbuilt WebRTC phone features available because it's a browser based. So you don't require any kind of a physical IP phones or physical setup. You just require a headset, and then you can make and receive calls. You can also forward the calls to your mobile. So if you don't have a good internet connection at your hand, So you can always forward the calls to your mobile or landline, and you can receive calls through that. The call bridging will happen between the mobile and the UCC product. The call recordings will be available, and it's always highly secure using the SSL certificates and other security mechanisms that we talked about previously. If we talk about some more features, so it has a inbuilt mini CRM system which you can customize the parameters as per the requirement. You have your own ticketing system, so that can handle, they can log the tickets of your consumers, and if you want to raise any concerns, you can track the history of the tickets as well with the respect to different stats. And we have the A series as well, so incoming calls can be distributed as per the requirement, so like the to the different queues, to different IVRs, how you want to distribute your calls. The skill-based mapping, so to make sure your calls are connected to the right agent, so like they have the particular product policy knowledge or some kind of information that customer is looking for, so you can route the call to appropriate agent in that particular terms. You have your live call monitoring from the supervisors like barging, coaching, or whisper, so that can be also handled from the HoduCC portal. As we discussed, like we have built-in WebRTC, so the agents can log into their portal, or the supervisors can log into their portal, and then they can make and receive calls using their headphones. You have the remote agent, you have multi-level, multilingual IVR. So as per your process flow of the insurance claims, you can configure the different prompts, and then you can route the call as per the requirement. We also have the IVR call routing. So with respect to your to have the pre-authentication of your consumers, so like you want to check their insurance policy or their account number in that particular case. So you can let your customers input their details, and then based on the authentication, you can route the call within the system to the proper channel. There are different features, like you can also play up the balance or the particular notifications to your consumers, like text to speech will be there. You can have the multi-level dispositions, like while logging the call, you can provide proper dispositions for the same. You have the different, like there are 50 plus reports available across the platform, so you can have the complete in detail reports, and you can do the analysis. You have the dashboards available real time, so you can check up how the progress of your agents and the system is going on. We have the APIs available, so you can use the existing APIs, and you can integrate the required detail with the system, and you can fetch the information to and from. If you are having the local database and then you want to pull up some details from your end, so that can be also possible with the help of the APIs. Now, if we talk about the add-on features, so we have IVR survey, agent surveys. So if you want to take the feedback from your existing clients, so you can run the surveys, and you can know about their satisfactions, or you want to promote something and you want to take the feedback on that. So you can also have this kind of survey mechanisms. You can also have the quality analysis module. So you want to measure the quality performance of your agents, how they are working. So as a supervisor, as a team lead, or as an admin, you can have the access of a quality module analysis. And then you have the SMS broadcasting and WhatsApp broadcasting. So for that, if you want to broadcast and promote your business, you want to provide different offers to your consumers, so that you can also upload and achieve that. We also provide CRM integrations, like there is a Zoho phone bridge integration, Salesforce and Zendesk integration is available, where you will get the built-in WebRTC phone. So that will help you to have the more insight and more calling facilities within Salesforce and Zendesk. And let's see about the deployment. So how you can deploy this. So as we discussed in earlier, so this is HoduCC can be deployed over the cloud or over the on-premise as per the requirement. So you can deploy the form, then it will be behind the firewall. It could be connected with the different agents. They can have their IP phone as well for the calling purpose. It will be connected to the SIP trunks, or you have a GSM or PSTN, then the gateway will be required. And there will be different portals for the monitoring, like admin portal is there, supervisor portal is there. So that all portals can be used for the monitoring of the performance. Now, if you say like we also provide a multi-tenancy, so if you want to provide and the services of the call center. So you can also deploy the multi-tenancy. So where the different tenants will be there, based on their requirement, you can provide the different services, whether they just want to have the SMS services, they just want to have the WhatsApp services. So the different omni-channel approaches you can provide to them. The generic use case scenarios, like as we discussed, you can have it over the cloud or you have it over the premises, and you can also have a third-party CRM integrations. There will be different agents sitting across the offices or in a remote workforce. Then customers can connect with you using the different channels that you are providing for the support. If you talk about the industry specific, so insurance industry use case scenarios will be, you have the different policy services, product services, then the claim management will be there, multiple channels like the digital channels will be there like email, video, SMS, chat, and social media. So all these different calling and digital channels will be connected to the Hoducc CC, and then based on the different approaches like policy renewal, renewal premiums, or the transactions, they want to know about the promotions, they want to have the claim playouts information. So based on the requirements, they can provide this information using the different digital channels or the calling facility that is available with the Hoducc CC. Now, if we say like, let's take it the layouts of the different Hoducc CC panels. So this is the agent panel where agents will log in. They have this kind of a dashboard available with the required information, the sessions, and their communication history. This is the once they logged in, so they have the built-in WebRTC and the CRM interface. So there will be CRM pop-up where there is the incoming call or outgoing call. They can also do the transfer to various endpoints. So here you can see like transferring to different queues or different IVRs or the agents. Here you have the example of a ticketing system. So if you want to log a ticket of your customer, so you can have the subjects, the comments, and the details of the categories as per the requirement of yours. You can customize the categories. You can have the social media request example. So when the call are or the requests are coming in, so there will be the agents are assigned to particular queue, right? And the agents can receive those conversation and they can directly interact with the ongoing customer request. This is the example for the Facebook request. So when you have your Facebook page, then customers are sending you the comments or the Facebook messengers. So all those requests can be fetched and assigned to the particular agent, and then they can reply back to those conversations over the different mediums like Twitter, Telegram, so where you can share the files, you can share the images as per the requirement. You can also have the incoming SMS. You can configure your SMS number of the company, and as an agent, they can reply back to those queries or requirements. You can also manage your email accounts using the Hoducc CC. So all the emails will be read and assigned to the agents and reply back by the conversation. And this is the web chat plugin, so which you can embed within your website, and agents are configuring that and assigning to the different modes like a sales chat or pre-sales or support, and then they can take up the conversation ahead as per the requirement. They can have the internal customers review, right? So like they can have the internal chat facility available. They can send out and like a manual WhatsApp. They can send out SMS, compose SMS feature is there, compose email. So manually, if they want to connect to a particular person via different channels, that is also available within the system. And you also have the Omni-Channel Dashboard, so to check the progress, how the each channels or each campaigns are running out, so that you can have the clear visibility over here. Now let's take a look at the small video that we have. you for having a look at the video. So now we have seen the complete journey of that, how the omni channels are there, how it will be benefited to the different industry perspectives. So there are three different steps of process that you can implement to have this omni-channel approach, and four organizational technical enablers will be there. So like first of all, that what you have to do is you have to create the transparency, and you have to have the knowledge of the user behavior, okay, and how to the channels performance, and all this will come into the matter, so that you have to map out the customer journeys, you have to understand what drives their decision, and you have to know the customer traffic and their experiences, as well as the conversion ratios for that. And the second point will be enable and optimize your online customer journey. So that will help you to review how your products fitting their purpose, how continuously improving the landing page and the customer journey. So that will help them in terms of the growing and implementation. And the third point will be orchestrate the advice capacities. So like the reply advice along with the customers online and offline journey. So that will be systematically mapped, and then based on that you can make a decisions, you can increase your conversion rate. And the last points, like you need to have a data activation measurements and analytics on that data. You have to have the collaboration of the agile methods and the cross function systems. You need to have a modern flexible technology infrastructure, and incentivize and performance management that you have to manage. So with the help of all these different small steps that you can implement, and you can have a user first omnichannel approach within the organization that you are in. The last statistics, how once you implement this, so omnichannel campaigns that on 18% of engagement, single channel campaigns who only receive 5.4% engagements. So campaigns using 3 channels or more on 250% of higher purchase rate. At the last statistics, 86% of the customers, they're willing to pay up to like 25% more for the different products and the services where they have the better customer experience. And as per the Aberdeen Group, so the rate of the customer satisfaction is like up to 23 times higher for the companies who are implementing the omni-channel strategies within their organization. So now coming to a conclusion of our webinar. So with the ever increasing the need for the remote working, everything is expected to be digitalized. Right? So you have to available with virtual communication and the digital channels as we go. We have to put ourselves into customer shoes to know the moment of truth, the differentiator from the competitor. So like if once you are in a customer's position, you need to know how they are feeling. So that will help you to redesign or align the different channels that will help you to grow as an organization and help your customers as well. You need to have more channels, so that will obviously lead to the more customer interactions and in terms of the more sales. You need to redesign your customer journeys using the digital elements. Like now, the older versions of the calls and the emails will not work. We have to accept the new changes that is going on into this era. And then the social media will be the great service tool for that. Right? That will help you to achieve the higher customer satisfaction rates, customer expectations, and how it is delivered. It's currently out of sync for the many insurance organizations. That gap we have to cover up with the help of omni-channel presence at the contact centers we can implement. And the last one that I can say, the customers now have the more leverage than ever to decide how they want to do the business with you. So if you're not available on their desired channel, they will choose someone else for you. Okay. So with this, I'm concluding my webinar session. Right. Thank you so much for your time and patience to listen up my details and the statistics that we have presented, along with the Hoducc CC product that we showcased you in a shorter period. Right. So we have our different clients like Anchor Insurance, we have VFT Microfinance Bank, we have Coronation, we have Turaco. So all these are different our insurance segment clients that we have.
My name is Maxwell Njoro. I'm the head of engineering at Turaco. We've been using HoduCC for the past 7 months now, and it's been really amazing to be able to use such a powerful software. We are coming from a system that had very many issues that we were dealing with, and we couldn't foresee our future with the same company. For example, we couldn't get reporting right. We couldn't get IVR without having to call the vendor and ask them to customize for us. And of course, that would come with an invoice. Of course, the different invoices for just getting reports or anything also made predicting the cost or the how much it spent on this software was quite impossible, because we couldn't really predict which report we would need in the next few months, and then obviously we couldn't predict what they would charge, and of course overall cost of using the system. So then came in HoduCC, which was a result of about 3 months worth of searching, and HoduCC emerged at the top, being so powerful in so many ways, having all the features that we were looking for, slightly even better than what we expected in many ways. We came from using different vendors to just get like IVR right, to get like reporting right, to using one system that had everything that we needed. And thanks to the team also for being responsive to our needs, and every question that we had, we were able to get responses for. Again, also HoduCC came in at a time when we were launching a big partnership for us that had a lot of different customers to call. So we needed to have the right tools in place to make this pilot successful, and obviously that would translate to business for us. And HoduCC came through very brilliantly, and surprisingly, it was just after like 2 weeks of setup. That shows how easy it is to even just set it up and get it up and running. The other thing that is really standing out right now is that even as we're building our partnerships and as we're getting more customers in, we are able to try different things, different variations of communications. And because we don't have to go back to the vendor to ask them for support for every little thing that we're trying to do, that makes it so easy to use the software. That makes it so easy to try out things and get results and iterate over them, and finally get the right way to work with our customers. And that has been a real pleasure, and we thank you, the HoduCC team, for all that you've done for us and the support that you've given us so far.
So we are now open for the question and answer session. So we would like to have your inputs, like you can post your questions into the chat sections, and we are happy to assist you over there.